So section 8 on our lab says to put the ventilator into pressure SIMV. So here we go. Pressure control, SIMV plus pressure support. That's what we want. What we want to touch, which I'm having trouble doing. You can see I got it there. Okay, and notice our peak pressure of 13. Doesn't want to let me turn it down because my pressure support currently is set at 17. Let's put that down to 5, which is often a good place to start, 5 to 8. And then we'll put this down to 13, like requested. Our SIMV rate, let's put to 10. And FiO2 back down to 21. PEEP of 6. Let's do I time of 1 second. And we're going to start with our everything else set exactly as is. Okay? So let's hit accept. And we are now in pressure support, pressure SIMV with pressure support. So you can see when the patient triggers extra breaths, notice their spontaneous breaths interspersed with those 10 machine breaths. So you can see every 6 seconds you get a machine breath. In between are the spontaneous breaths. So that's pretty cool. Now, notice the spontaneous breaths. Well, before we do that, let's turn our high respiratory rate up, because I actually want to show you some, I'm having trouble doing that. In order to keep the glare off the ventilator face, I put it very square to you, but that means that when I'm angling to make the changes, I'm shooting too high. So it's hard to get it that low. Okay. So I can see my values are low. So remember, always we should be able to predict what's going to happen. And you'll notice my tidal volume is only 319 on machine breaths. And I'm looking at then 150 on spontaneous. And I'm looking at that and I'm going, I know something's wrong, because if I set this up as requested with compliance at 40, my volume should be higher. And I look down at my lung and behold, it's set at 20. Notice when I actually set the lab as requested, suddenly my volume, notice, is up to, on machine breaths, is up to 650. And then on spontaneous, we're running 260, 270. Okay. Now, notice, like I said, right now, my spontaneous breaths see around 650 machine and about 250, 260, 270 on spontaneous breath. Well, what happens if we adjust our, not inspiratory rise, our inspiratory cycle off percent? This adjusts where we are going to end spontaneous breaths, so 30% of peak flow right now. Well, what happens if we put this all the way down to 5%? We are extending our cycle. We're not cycling off quite so soon. So we expect our spontaneous breaths to be a little bigger. And you can see now they're running about 280. 285, 270, 278. And notice we go back up to 30%. We're going to cycle a little sooner. You can see the cycle there's a little sooner. And notice our tidal volume are now down in the, none of them are going up as high as 280, right? They're down 266, 270. So it hasn't made a huge change, but about 15 or so mils. Okay. If we put this even higher, oops, we put that up to say 60%. So of course our machine breaths are no different, but notice our spontaneous, because we're cycling sooner, we're cycling at 60% of peak flows, our breaths now are down just over 200, 210, 217 in there.